Welcome to our Crypto News in 10, a daily podcast bringing you the latest news about crypto in under 10 minutes. It's Tuesday, March 17th, 2026, and the crypto calendar is packed. In Washington, D.C., the D.C. Blockchain Summit opens with U.S. policymakers and industry leaders trading notes on what comes next for stablecoins, market structure, and tokenization. Across the Atlantic, London's CBC Summit Europe zeroes in on crypto banking, compliance, and the mechanics of bringing stablecoins into the regulated financial stack. Down in Brazil, Merge São Paulo kicks off, one of LATAM's biggest stages this year for digital assets and on-chain finance. We've also got a legal clock ticking in New York as BlockFills faces a same-day response deadline to a federal order freezing more than 70 Bitcoin. And in New York City, Bakkt gathers investors at the NYSE to map its post-acquisition strategy in stablecoin payments. Let's get into it. Details at dcblockchainsummit.com. Story 1. Policy takes center stage in Washington. The DC Blockchain Summit runs today and tomorrow, bringing together regulators, members of Congress, and industry executives for working sessions on digital asset rules. Think stablecoin oversight under the Genius Act framework, market structure guardrails, and how tokenized assets should slot into existing securities plumbing. Organizers describe it as a forum where government and business leaders unite to explore the most pressing issues in blockchain and digital assets, with sessions aimed at U.S. competitiveness and economic growth. The SEC's own events page flags the summit on its calendar, underscoring how closely the agency is tracking this conversation. If you're looking for signals on the next wave of guidance, disclosures, registration paths, and pilot programs, this is where a lot of that scaffolding gets hammered out in public. More at dcblockchainsummit.com. The backdrop matters. Just days ago, the SEC's Investor Advisory Committee circulated tokenized equity recommendations and open questions: how to apply existing rules, what transfer agent functions look like on-chain, and how exchange or ATS models might adapt. Expect those talking points to bleed into panel Q&As in DC, especially around secondary trading and settlement. In short, the policy runway is being paved while markets keep flying. Source: sec.gov. Story 2. London hosts CBC Summit Europe, a one-day curated gathering focused on crypto banking, compliance, and, yes, stablecoins. Organizers say more than 100 industry executives, regulators, and legislators are on deck, highlighting the hard work of integrating on-chain assets with payments, custody, and prudential oversight. The timing is notable. Europe is deep into MiCA implementation while the UK builds out its own authorization regime. So banks and exchanges are comparing notes on licensing, AML, and KYC, and where stablecoin issuance and deposit token rails will actually plug into core banking systems. If you care about passports, permissions, and practical bank connectivity, today's London sessions offer a clear read on how, and how fast, Europe expects crypto to behave like finance. Details at cryptoevents.global. Story 3. Merge. São Paulo opens today with a 3-day program bringing regulators, financial institutions, and builders together across Brazil and LATAM. Organizers project more than 5,000 participants and 300 speakers, with an institutional summit slated for day 1 before the main conference continues at the World Trade Center venue. Brazil has been steadily formalizing its crypto regulatory framework, and Merge is positioning itself as the big tent for policy roundtables on stablecoins, tokenization, and digital market infrastructure. For teams eyeing real-world assets, payments, and banking integrations in Portuguese-speaking markets, this week is a high-signal checkpoint on partnerships and licensing paths. Coverage via fxstreet.com. Before we continue, here's a message from our sponsors.
Need elite developers fast? Elite Coders connects you with rigorously vetted senior engineers in 24 to 48 hours. Staff augmentation, dedicated teams, or full project delivery. We've got you covered. Visit elitecoders.co to get started today.
All right, let's get back to it. Story 4. A courtroom countdown for BlockFills. A federal judge in New York issued a temporary restraining order freezing 70.6 BTC, roughly $5 million, linked to a dispute over customer funds, and ordered BlockFills to respond by today, March 17th. The order landed just weeks after BlockFills halted deposits and withdrawals in February during a sharp market drawdown. The plaintiff, Dominion Capital, argues the Bitcoin belongs to it. The court granted the initial freeze without notice, citing immediate and irreparable harm if the assets moved. What to watch now? Whether BlockFills can demonstrate control processes and accounting trails for the frozen BTC, and crucially, its plan and timeline for resuming customer withdrawals. Today's filings and any hearing updates will tell us a lot about counterparty risk management in stressed liquidity windows. Reporting via Cointelegraph.com. Story 5. Bakkt's Investor Day hits the New York Stock Exchange. After announcing a deal to acquire a stablecoin firm earlier this year, Bakkt scheduled this March 17th event to lay out its combined roadmap, where stablecoin issuance, regulated custody, and merchant payment rails intersect. The company also said Akshay Naheta, who had served as co-CEO since March 2025, would become sole CEO as the integration moves forward. What to listen for? Product timelines for institutional-grade settlement using fully reserved dollar tokens, how Bakkt plans to differentiate across on- and off-ramps and point-of-sale flows, and whether the firm will target niche verticals, like gaming or cross-border payouts, where stablecoin utility is already sticky. Strategy clarity matters here. We've seen card networks and fintechs test stablecoin settlement. Bakkt's pitch is about packaging compliance, liquidity, and merchant acceptance into something banks and corporates can adopt at scale. Source: Decrypt.co. Quick note while we're here. If you're a US user sorting taxes, Coinbase says Form 199DA for tax year 2025 will be provided no later than today, March 17, 2026. Check your account if you're expecting one. Not investment advice, just paperwork peace of mind. Details at help.coinbase.com. All right, rapid recap. Washington's DC Blockchain Summit sets the tone on US crypto rules, disclosures, market structure, and how tokenization plugs into legacy rails. London's CBC Summit Europe keeps the focus on banking, compliance, and stablecoins under evolving UK and EU regimes. São Paulo's Merge convenes thousands as Brazil cements its framework for digital assets and real-world tokenization. In New York, BlockFills faces a same-day court deadline over a 70 Bitcoin freeze order, and at the NYSE, Bakkt briefs investors on its stablecoin-centric roadmap after its acquisition. Plenty of signals today, across policy, plumbing, and payments. We'll keep tracking the headlines as they land. More at dcblockchainsummit.com. Thanks for listening, and see you tomorrow.